Welcome to AutoSens, the world's leading community for ADAS and autonomous vehicle technology development. We create best-in-class events, training, and information to connect the global community of scientists, engineers, and other automotive industry experts. Joining us is a longtime member of the AutoSens family, Daniel Shwartzberg, Director of Business Development and Systems Solutions at Valens Semiconductor. Daniel, welcome back. Good to see you again, friend.
Thank you, Carl. It's so great to be talking to you again. I honestly cannot believe how much time has passed since the last time. It just flies by.
Yeah, it really does. And Valens firing on all cylinders, no doubt. So in September 2024, you made this exciting announcement where 3 OEMs have selected MIPI A-PHY connectivity for their next-gen ADAS systems. So building on that momentum, Daniel, what can we expect now in 2025?
Yeah, so as you say, very exciting news, not only for Valens, but I think for the industry at whole. Finally, a standardized high-speed SerDes solution for sensor connectivity is available. And as you say, 3, actually the European OEMs. I wish I could tell you who they are, but you will appreciate I can't. But they are very well-known European OEMs. All of them have selected our A-PHY compliant chipsets, the VA7000 family, to be their connectivity solution for their ADAS platforms, their ADAS systems. These are multi-camera ADAS systems. SOP, start of production on the road for those vehicles with our devices in them and A-PHY technology in 2026. So actually, yeah, we're already in 25. So next year, A-PHY technology will be already on the road. Now, this is a real tipping point, I would say, for us. It's a tipping point for A-PHY. It's a tipping point for the industry. We're seeing more and more companies actually through 24, and we already begin to see already into 2025. We see more and more companies growing into this A-PHY compliant ecosystem. So developing products, bringing products to market with A-PHY technology inside it. And I think when you have an ecosystem, that's what the OEMs want, right? They want to know that they can pick a mix from different vendors, but with one common technology, connecting it all together. That technology is A-PHY. And again, it is standardized. It is brought by the MIPI Alliance, but I should mention, of course, it has also been adopted by the IEEE. So now you have these 2 massive standardization bodies with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of member companies supporting this great technology, this A-PHY technology for sensor connectivity. Also, by the way, equally applicable to displays as well. So a great technology, expanding ecosystem on the roads in 2026 with the first 3 OEMs, those big European OEMs, as I said.
And when it comes to OEMs, Daniel, recently there was an OEM that conducted this in-depth comparison between the Valens, the A-PHY chipsets that we're talking about, and then a competing solution. Daniel, can you summarize the results of those findings? What was that about?
A great topic to discuss. Yes, it was actually, and once again, I wish I could name names, but I can't. It was a really big global OEM. I mean, one of the top 5 who commissioned a tier 1, a very well-known tier 1, to actually compare our A-PHY chipsets against a legacy solution that a lot in the industry are using, as well as another competing, I'm going to say standard in quote, it's not exactly a standard, but another emerging so-called standard. So 3 technologies side by side in the lab. And that OEM really laid out a test plan that was answering the challenges that it had been facing, issues that it had seen with the legacy solution that it was using. And basically, I mean, if I summarize the results, it was across the board. A-PHY technology was found superior to that legacy and that other so-called standard technology. So it really was a hands down win. It covered a lot of different, as I say, a lot of different areas that OEM was experiencing, the pain points it was feeling. But very importantly, they focused on EMC testing, right? Electromagnetic interferences and how robust the different link technologies were. And again, A-PHY really outperformed. Our VA7000 chips outperformed the others. Orders of magnitude better, a packet error rate of 10 to the minus 19 is achieved. And that really is far, far superior than other technologies either today or that are emerging. And this is critical. Again, I've talked to you in the past about EMI, EMC, about the need for a resilient link. And that becomes ever more important as the industry moves towards high levels of ADAS on the road to eventual autonomous driving, with higher bandwidth links and with links that really are mission and therefore safety critical. So yes, a very interesting piece of work undertaken on behalf of that big five OEM with a knockout, shall we say, win for our A-PHY technology.
Daniel, let's build on the EMC discussion. So there was a well-publicized case in the fall of 2024 where one of the big three US automakers had to recall more than 100,000 vehicles for an issue that was caused by electromagnetic interferences, or EMC for short. So for years, Daniel, we know that Valens has been talking about this, has been speaking about the importance of this. But now we're starting to actually see this in the real world, and we're starting to see these real world concerns. So what is EMC, Daniel? What's the importance of it? And how can OEMs protect their systems against this?
Right. So I'm not here to name and shame. This was a very well publicized case. There's a NHTSA report out there publicly available. So I don't need to call it out, but yes, this was an EMC, electromagnetic interference of a reversing camera, right? So you would put the car into reverse. You're relying on the display to see what's going on behind you. Now, if you happen to be talking on your cell phone and the cell phone was somewhere down in the console area, the image at the back would start to jitter, would start to flicker. And of course, that introduces risk in terms of the reversing maneuver and whatever could be behind the car, there's a chance of you hitting it. So yes, this was the case. And certainly we've been talking, as you say, for years, we've been saying that what's happening is that as bandwidths increase, as link distances become longer, the risks from EMC, EMI interferences affecting the system are growing. And we begin to see that risk, the toll that it's having on the industry right now in that last year recall towards the end of last year. We expect there to be more and more recalls. And there's a few reasons. The first is, as I say, as bandwidths increase, so that the signal to noise ratio, in the system, the margins go down. And so the noise impact is going to be more readily felt as the bandwidths go up, and the bandwidths go up as we move to more high level, higher resolution sensors, for example, front cameras for ADAS applications. So the increasing bandwidth brings additional risks, lower margins. Secondly, the industry until now has been relying on shielding to be the solution to all of their EMC problems. Now, the problem with shielding, and if we think in particular about shielding cables, is as the cables age, the shielding effectiveness goes down and the noise comes into the system. So if you're relying on shielding, it will get you so far, maybe when the vehicle is new, but once you drive it off the lot and the cable ages, that is then going to be a much less good protection for the data that's running in the system. So we see less margin, we see cable shielding that is going to fail, and of course the overall risk goes up simply because the systems are becoming more and more mission critical. Yes, a reversing camera is important, don't get me wrong, but if we think about hands-off kind of driving a level 3, level 4 of ADAS on the road to autonomy, then it's not just that the systems are likely to fail. Now the risk of the impact of that failure goes up as well. So it's the perfect storm for a disaster for the industry. And yes, as I've said, the industry so far has been relying on shielding to get around this. In fact, the outcome of that NHTSA report from that recall was the vehicle has to go back to have even more shielding put on. But this is where A-PHY really excels. And I said about that OEM benchmarking just a few moments ago that we really outperformed in terms of EMC. So A-PHY actually has mechanisms built into it that mean that the shielding actually is not necessarily needed, right? In fact, our chips can run up to 4 gigabits per second on unshielded wiring and pass all the EMC tests. So A-PHY has mechanisms built in, digital mechanisms built in, that mean that if you have shielding, if you don't have shielding, if the noise gets into the system, A-PHY devices know to cancel it out. And what that means is that you can be assured that when the car is new or when the car has been on the road for several years, your systems, your mission critical systems will not be exposed to the risks of EMI, EMC, those electromagnetic interferences. And the sort of recalls that we now begin to see will become a thing of the past with A-PHY.
Speaking with Daniel Shwartzberg, Director of Business Development and Systems Solutions at Valens Semiconductor. Daniel, we've seen now more than 7 silicon vendors of MIPI A-PHY, which again supports the notion that this is a true standardized solution. When it comes to MIPI A-PHY, can you speak more about, and I know you were touching on this just a moment ago, but can you speak more about why this is important and why multiple vendors are looking at MIPI A-PHY as a true solution?
For sure. So the beauty of a standard is it moves away from where the industry has been so far, relying on proprietary single source technologies. And again, you just need to turn the clock back to the semiconductor crisis, the supply chain crisis of the pandemic, to know that proprietary and single source are dirtier words than ever in the automotive industry. For sure, the market demand for A-PHY is hard to ignore, right? And we see that many semiconductor companies around the world are now working to become a vendor in that growing pie. They want a piece of that A-PHY pie. This is critical when we think about the emergence of a true standard. So what does a true standard bring? It brings you interoperability from multiple vendors. So in other words, I can now buy my silicon from different vendors, and I can be calm and I can rest assured that they know to interoper. Okay, that's the beauty of a standard, interoperability. You follow the standard, the interoperability is built in. Now, the MIPI Alliance has discovered even one step further. They don't just rely on people to follow the spec to the word. They have a compliance testing specification. They even have a compliance testing laboratory that now products can be sent to ensure that they do actually meet the requirements of the spec to ensure that interoperability. And ourselves, we've actually taken it one step further. We're already running interoperability testing with different vendors, of different silicon vendors. The last one was just actually a few weeks ago. We're seeing a great deal of good data coming out of that testing. We're seeing that interoperability that is so critical for a standard happening, and I think this is great news for all of us. Anybody who's looking for a really true standardized solution in the industry has it with A-PHY.
And likewise, Daniel, we've seen now 2 big sensor vendors in Sony and OmniVision that are now working on the integration of A-PHY into the sensor. So again, similar question, what advantages does this bring to the automotive industry?
Another great question, and definitely another real advantage of a standard. Anybody who has access to the standard can do that integration. And yes, the first one out of the gate was Sony, but now OmniVision have announced it as well. There was a PR went out just a few days ago about that. Integration is only possible through standardization, and A-PHY actually was designed from the ground up to be very simple on the transmitter side to enable that integration into the sensor. So if you think about it, you can now take out a transmitter chip, a serializer chip from the camera. A-PHY will come directly off of the sensor, meaning that the camera can be smaller, cheaper, lower power, which means less heat to dissipate. And this is great because the camera form factors are going down all the time. Sony and Omni, as I said, the first 2 to really recognize the benefits that this can bring the industry. And of course, we are working closely with both of those companies. We want to make sure that they succeed, because their success is a success for the ecosystem, will grow the market, make that pie I talked about even bigger. And definitely we want to ensure interoperability. So yes, we have tested, and we will continue to test with those companies to make sure that these solutions come to market and hit the ground running to the benefit of all of us.
Speaking with Daniel Shwartzberg, Director of Business Development and System Solutions at Valens Semiconductor, longtime member of our AutoSens family. Daniel, thank you for being with us, for sharing your expertise and your thought leadership. I look forward to seeing you this summer in Detroit, and we can pick back up again on this conversation of MIPI A-PHY. Thank you for being here, friend.
Thanks as always, Carl. Thank you.
For more information on Valens Semiconductor and to find out more about our upcoming events, see the links in the description or visit auto-sense.com. That's auto-sense.com. And for more in-depth interviews like this, subscribe to the AutoSense YouTube channel and follow AutoSense on LinkedIn. In Detroit, on behalf of AutoSense, I'm Carl Anthony.